Kuunga mkono taarifa hii ambayo imesomwa hapa na ndugu yangu landlord. Speaker, kitu cha kwanza amegusia mambo ya kuharakisha vile uchumi unaweza kuregeshwa tena, yani economic recovery. Kitu ambacho cha sikitisha Speaker ni kwamba tunaona katika maeneo yale ambayo mimi natoka ya Kilifi, tuko na yale EPZ ambayo tunaita ni maeneo ya biashara za nje. Tunasema kwamba katika Kilifi hivi karibuni tumeona ya kwamba kampuni hizi za EPZ zimeingia kwa wingi, zingine hata zimeweza kuacha kufanya biashara zao Mombasa, zimekuja Kilifi kufanya biashara zao za nje kwa sababu ya nafasi, kwa sababu ya kwamba pengine wanaweza kupata afueni ya kulipa kodi. Speaker, tunaona ya kwamba Mombasa na Kilifi haiko mbali. Wengi wanaofanya kazi Kilifi wanaishi Mombasa, wengi wanaofanya kazi Mombasa wanaishi Kilifi, hususan mahali kama Mtwapa, majengo ya Kanamai, kuenda mpaka Vipingo, mpaka Shariani, ni maeneo ambao kuna wakazi wengi ambao wanaketi baadhi ya hizi kaunti mbili. Speaker, lakini cha kusikitisha ni kwamba wafanyikazi wanaofanya katika maeneo ya biashara hizi za nje wa Mtwapa wanalipwa pesa kidogo, hali wafanyikazi wale wanaofanya kazi katika maeneo haya ya biashara za nje wanafanya kazi katika maeneo ya Mombasa ama cities zozote kama Nairobi ama Kisumu ama Nakuru, kule kuna biashara hizi za maeneo ya biashara ya nje, wanalipwa juu zaidi. Sisi katika hii taarifa hii angegusia ya kwamba ikiwa mahali pana uchumi wa masaa 24 kama Kilifi, mahali kama Mtwapa, masaa 24 ya uchumi yanaendelea, hakuna tofauti na mahali kama Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru na kwingineko ambako kama ni city. Kwa hiyo sisi tunasema kwamba wafanyi kazi kama hao pia wangeangaliwa kuona ya kwamba ikiwa maeneo haya kazi za nje yanapatikana pia yaweze kufanywa, iwe hao pia wataweza kutiwa katika ile hesabu. Speaker, tunaona wakati huu kumekuwa na ugonjwa ule wa COVID na watu wameweza kupoteza makazi zao, na hivi karibuni tena kumeingia ule ambao pia watu wamezidi kupoteza kazi. Lakini tunasema ya kwamba wakati huu hii statement na mwelekeo wa serikali wangekuwa wameweka mikakati kabambe kuona ya kwamba ni vipi jambo hili ambalo pata suluhisho ya kwamba tuzidishe upande wa sayansi, kuona ya kwamba watu wanaweza kufanya kazi zao wakiwa nyumbani ama wanafanya kazi zao wakiwa kwa umbali, lakini kazi wasizipoteze. Speaker, tukija kwa upande wa pesa ambazo zinakwenda katika serikali zetu za mashinani, tunaona ya kwamba bidii ama juhudi katika kupunguza yale madeni ambayo yanakumba serikali za mashinani hazitoshi. Speaker, tunaona ya kwamba ni jambo la kusikitisha, serikali zile zetu za ugatuzi zote 47 hakuna serikali hata moja ambayo haina shida ya kutolipa madeni. wengi wamekuwa wakifanya harakati zao katika serikali zao, lakini tunaona madeni ya kaunti yanaendelea kupanda kila uchao, na hili si jambo ambalo linaonyesha picha nzuri. Speaker, tukiangalia kwa upande mwingine, madeni yale ya kulipa yanalipwa ya kupendelea. Wengine wanalipwa, wengine hawalipwi. Watu wamechukua madeni hivi sasa, wamekwenda kwenye bank, wamekwenda kukopesha kila mahali, wameweza kukopesha, lakini pesa zikipatikana zinapokwenda katika serikali za mashinani, serikali zetu za county hazigawanyi zile pesa kulinganishana na ile ratiba ya wale watu ambao wamefanya kazi kwanza walipwe, alafu wale wengine baadaye. Kunakuwa na mapendeleo. Sasa kuna wengine ambao wamefanya zile kazi na wameweza kupeleka risiti zao na imeweza kupasishwa ya kwamba wameshalipa yale madeni, lakini utaona ya kwamba Speaker, wale wanaolipwa katika zile pesa zinazopatikana ama zinazokwenda katika serikali za mashinani wanaanza kufanya ubaguzi, na wale ambao wako na madeni kama madogo madogo, hususan nikigusia wale ambao wanafanya biashara ndogo ndogo, wamejikakamua sana kufanya hiyo biashara, lakini ikifika saa malipo yao yanachelewa. Sasa utapata ya kwamba mtu amemaliza karibu mwaka mzima, anaenda kwa county kila siku akiomba ya kwamba deni langu katika bank linazidi kupanda, na pande hii sasa sijui hata faida hakuna tena, niregesheni ile pesa ambayo mimi nilikopa ili kuwafanyia kazi nyinyi kama county. Kwa hiyo tunasema kwamba jambo kama hilo ni muhimu pia lingekuwa liko hapa, kwamba lizingatiwe zaidi, ya kwamba wale wanaofanya kazi wanaofanya biashara na county wa kwanza walipo kwanza, watakao kuja baadaye walipo baadaye, badala ya kufanya mambo ya upendeleo. Speaker, tumeona katika ripoti hii pia ya kwamba kuna uzembe mwingi sana ndani ya serikali, ndani ya mashirika ya umma, na ndugu yangu Kibiru amefanya vizuri kuyataja yale mashirika. Shirika la kwanza ikiwa ni Kenya Power, shirika la pili ikiwa ni KenGen, na tatu ikiwa ni Kenya Ports Authority, na la nne ikiwa ni KQ. Speaker, ni jambo la kusikitisha kuona serikali yetu inapeleka pesa nyingi sana katika makampuni haya, na makampuni haya kulinganishana na ule ukweli kama mashirika ya umma yanatakana kujiangalia yao wenyewe bila kusaidiwa na serikali. Yawe yanaweza wanafanya biashara na wanapata pesa na wanaweza kujiendeleza wao wenyewe ili iweze kupanuka, kama vile tunaona kama wale wa Emirates, tunaona wa Qatar, tunaona wa KLM. Haya ni mashirika ambayo yako kwa serikali zao, lakini yako independent, yako huru na serikali. Lakini hapa utaona ya kwamba shirika kama la Kenya Airways, shirika la Kenya Airways linasikitisha kwa sababu ni shirika letu la ndege, ndio tunalipenda, ndio tunalitumia sana sisi waheshimiwa hapa, lakini utaona ya kwamba Kenya Airways iko ghali sana, bei yake iko juu sana, huduma zake si mbaya. Lakini utaona ya kwamba ikiwa huduma zenu zitakuwa si mbaya, lakini zile charges zinazotaja ama kile kima ambacho watu wanasafiria wanalipa kitakuwa juu kuliko wengine, utaona sasa Kenya Airways wanaanza kupoteza biashara, kwa sababu sasa kama katika Kenya sasa tuko na kama 748, wako wale Jambo, wako Skyward, wako na wengineo ambao wanafanya biashara kama hiyo ambao Kenya Airways wanafanya. Kwa hiyo sisi tunasema tu ya kwamba uzembe ambao unatokea ndani ya Kenya Airways ni lazima urekebishwe ili shirika hili liweze kushindana na hata ndege za mataifa mengine. Ukiangalia hivi sasa shirika la Kenya Airways haliwezi kushindana na watu kama Emirates, manake bei yao ni kama nusu ya wale ambao, kama unaenda Dubai ama unatoka Dubai unakuja Kenya, ukija na Emirates utalipa nusu ya ile nauli ambayo mtu amepandia Kenya Airways kutoka Dubai akija Nairobi, ama akitoka Nairobi akienda Dubai analipa nusu. Hiyo tunasema ya kwamba ni lazima iangaliwe. Shirika kama la KPA si shirika ambalo saa hizi lingekuwa liko na madeni. Shirika la KPA katika ulimwengu wote, Speaker, tunaona mashirika yote ambayo yanafanya ya port, hata ukienda katika Singapore port, ukienda Dubai port, hao kwanza ndio wana support serikali. Lakini ni vipi sisi leo tukiona ya kwamba serikali lazima iende itie mkono iangalie vile inaweza kusaidia KPA? Ni kwa sababu ya uzembe na ufisadi kule. Speaker, la mwisho ambalo ningependelea kulitaja pia ni kwamba madeni ya barabara. Sisi katika kaunti ya Kilifi watu wamejaribu, serikali imejaribu kufanya barabara kisawa katika ule uwezo walio nao. Lakini tukija katika serikali ya kitaifa, tunasema ya kwamba ni jukumu la serikali kuona ya kwamba wanatengezea wananchi barabara ili waweze kuongeza biashara na kuongeza uchumi, hususan kwa wale wafanye biashara. Mara nyingi sana utaona ya kwamba ikiwa serikali inafikiria kutengeza barabara yake ndani ya pwani, pahali popote pale inapofikiria kutengeza ile bahari barabara, kitu cha kwanza kinachokuja kwenye akili ya mtu aliye ndani ya serikali ni kwamba tunatengeza barabara ya kusaidia watalii. Sisi tumechoka na hii habari ya kwamba ukifikiria habari ya kwenda coast, ama ukifikiria habari ya Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Taita, Lamu, Tana River, unafikiria utalii. Lakini usisahau kwamba kule kuna binadamu. Maeneo ya pwani si maeneo ya utalii peke yake. Maeneo ya pwani sio mbuga za nyika za kwamba zinaishi wanyama. Kwa hiyo tunataka heshima ifanywe ya kwamba ikiwa wewe unaketi kule pwani na mtu anataka, na serikali imefikiria, imetafakari kutengeza barabara, watengeze barabara kwa sababu wanajua kuna wakulima, kuna wafanyi biashara, kuna watu wanaishi kule, kuna maskuli, kila kitu kiko kule. Lakini tunaona kwamba hapo pande wa barabara serikali imekaba pesa kidogo, manake uhaba wa barabara njema zinazopatikana ndani ya Kilifi County ama katika pwani haziko. Hivi juzi tayari, Speaker, tumepoteza watu 18 katika accident iliyotokea ya matatu, mahali ambapo tusingepoteza watu kama hao. Kwa hiyo tunasema ya kwamba watu wanaoishi kule pia wanahitaji huduma za serikali. Watu wa Kilifi wanahitaji huduma za serikali ili wapate barabara nzuri, na halafu tusiwe na maajali yanayotokea barabarani na kuweza kupoteza maisha ya wapendwa wetu. Speaker, nataka kusema kwamba la mwisho ni kwamba ndugu yangu landlord ameleta ripoti yake hii, na mimi naunga mkono kwa sababu ni ripoti safi, ni ripoti imetupatia nafasi ya kuangalia viegezo vile ambavyo tunaweza kuongeza uchumi. Asante Speaker.
Thank you Senator Harkura Kodana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this debate on this motion on the Finance and Budget Committee on the Budget Policy Statement 2022. Madam Speaker, this House has been involved in the discussion with this budget policy statement for a long time, since the inception of the Second Senate. But one question I've been asking myself is this an academic exercise, or we're actually contributing anything to the budget-making process? Because we have been discussing year in, year out this issue, and I don't think our views have been taken. Treasury does not consider what comes from Parliament, much less what comes from Senate, because they know once they prepare the budget, it doesn't come to us. So sometimes I wonder whether we are doing an academic exercise or we are actually affecting the budget-making process. Because if you look at the PFM Act, Section 25 is very clear. It talks of that the resolution of Parliament on the budget policy statement should inform the preparation of the annual estimate, the budget. But is that actually the case? And because from here, my expectation is that our mandate here as the Senate is to make sure that we look at the impact of this budget policy statement on the counties, basically on devolution, on the proposed revenue. We have to check. Then we have to communicate our position on the division of revenue, and then by extension, the county allocation of revenue, which are actually generated from this process. Madam Speaker, assuming that what we are discussing here will have any impact on the budget-making process, because it has not had it before, the budget estimate for this year has shown an increase of about 9.2%, from 3 billion to 3.3. But if you look at what we have gone through, it's very clear that we should look at the times we are living in, and we should not have had this kind of budget increase, because what it basically will mean is just that we are going to borrow more. Last time, the revenue collected, if you look at what is estimated here, we are estimating about 2.14 ordinary revenue against what is actually projected of 1.9. So even what is given in the budget policy statement is not realistic. It's not even in line with the estimates which are there. But that will mean that there will be more tax on Kenyans, because that will be the other way of raising it. But even at the end of the day, assuming we are going to raise the 2.1, with a budget of 3.3, it means we have to borrow 1.2 from somewhere, 1.2 trillion. That is an addition to the debt, which already is almost hitting the ceiling of the 9 billion, which was approved last time. And I'd also like to comment, as my colleagues have earlier done, that the reason why Parliament approved the increasement of that ceiling is to allow the government to borrow and retire the expensive, mainly the local component of the debt, so that we can have the long-term ones, the ones which are done, the international ones which are done at a minimum rate of about 1 to 3%, so that we can concentrate, and even we can even structure those ones so that we can delay the payment. But from what the committee has come up after engaging the stakeholders, nothing has been done. We even hear cases of borrowing from international organizations from countries like Germany at 19%. That's what was being said by committee members today. That shows we are even borrowing even more than the rate we borrow locally, while that was not the reason why we have increased that ceiling. If you look at the consumption than even production, and we put more money, because the argument has been, yes, we can raise the budget, we can finance the sectors of this government which will generate more income, but it's all consumption, it's all going to government departments and sectors which are mainly consumption, so there will be no increase in production. So there will be no any benefit from it. And Madam Speaker, the issues here in this report which are clear is that the incidence or the issue of high domestic borrowing will affect the access of local businesses to credit, because banks will favor lending the government than the local businesses. That will mean less capital available to the local investors to generate or to improve the economy, which means the government, what it's doing is actually against the idea of improving the economy in the first place. The high budget deficit of about 1.16, which will result in more borrowing, which will result in more taxation, which is not what we intend to do to put more pressure on Kenyans, because they are the most taxed people. And the main other issue which the committee has raised 170 billion, which is the same as last year's allocation. Yes, last year, through the effort of each and every member of this House, we made sure that we secured additional 50 billion shillings for the counties from 316 to 370. But somebody somewhere seems to be punishing the counties because of the concessions this House got from them, because that's what I'm seeing. Because now, if the budget cannot be increased to the, as it has been said, it will even actually be less because of the inflation not being taken into account. So counties will get less, and devolution will suffer, because the budget has increased. If the overall budget has increased by 9%, and the revenue estimates also has increased, then what informs this idea of not adding any funds to the counties? That's why I agree with the committee in their proposal that actually the counties be given 495 billion, and that's where I'd like to see whether actually this House has any impact on the budget-making process, because according to that section 25 of the PFM Act, then this is where our input should be seen, that there must be a change in the allocations given to the county, or what the budget policy statement says about the county allocation of 370 billion. Then also there is the other issue of last year we had, in passing the CARA, we did not include conditional grants, on the understanding that there will be a different law, there will be a different mechanism of releasing the grants to the counties. And up to now, nothing has been released. And these grants affect major sectors like health. They affect sectors like the development of for example, the Kenya Urban Support Program, which actually was used to develop the urban or the county headquarters in some areas, and that has not been released. Then if we continue that way, then it's on the other hand that we are now again underfunding the counties. Because if the 370 is stagnant, the conditional grants are not released, then that means we are literally just strangling the counties, and we should not be part of that kind of a process as this House, which is here to protect the counties and their governments. The other issue is the national government has retained most of the functions, like health, water, but the worst part is you will find national government at the county level drilling boreholes, constructing small ponds, which are basically county government functions. And you look at, if you look at how they're doing it under pretext that they're using some loans, like ADB is funding those kind of programs and the Ministry of Health. So you just wonder, is it that the counties cannot get that money and do it instead of having that problem of duplication and the cost of implementation of those programs? So it just shows that the national government has not accepted that the counties need to do the functions they have been given. And every time anything happens, everybody is ready to blame the counties like they are not performing well. Actually, the funds are not given to them. The funds are being held by the national government. In the case of the road sector, you'll find that the national government maintains its own funds for maintenance of roads, like the Road Maintenance Levy Fund. What goes to the national government entities like Kenha, Kura, and Kera, and KWS still goes that way. But the one which goes to the county has been put under the equitable share. So basically, the roads in the county have no funds for maintenance. Because when we have asked for the 50 billion, part of that 50 billion is actually this road maintenance levy fund. The 15% which goes to county has been put there. And that is unfair because an important sector of the county government function is not working. The roads are not being maintained because we have diverted that money. So it's better we insist that that money is reinstated to a conditional grant and it's delivered to the counties. So, Madam Speaker, I support the committee's recommendation in the report that the county allocation of revenue be increased from 370 billion to 495 billion. equalization fund be released to the counties, because now we are, I think, 11th or the 12th year, and up to now, this is now the 11th year ending, no funds have been released from that fund, and it has a sunset clause of 20 years. Already 11 is gone, we have only 9 to go, and nothing has been released. I normally ask myself, when they start releasing, will they release from the ones they started generating from 2011 or from when they start releasing? Because I don't believe in this country there is money which has been kept in a particular place since 2011 waiting for these laws and for equalization funds to be passed. Because it seems there have never been a goodwill. It's a mega amount of 0.5%, and even that one has not been released for the last 11 years. And also the committee proposes that there should be reduction in the county, in the national government allocation of the budget, so that what is recovered from there can be released to the counties. But the counties themselves also have issues, as my colleagues have stated. They also need to see how they can raise their own revenues. Having had the benefit of being in the County Public Accounts and Investment Committee, you realize that the county governments are not serious on their own source revenue generation, while they have more capacity than the previous local authorities. They can automate their revenue collection. They have the capacity to employ more staff to collect revenue. But you'll find that they are not generating as they should be generating, because either because there is no that push because they are expecting money from the national government, the equitable share, or money is being collected and spent at the source. And to make the matters worse, governors are not ready to be audited or to be oversighted by Senate at that level. I think there are even court cases to the effect that Senate should not oversight the counties on their own source generated revenue. That gives a leeway for the government or the governors to spend that money as they wish, which is not right. We have had problems even when it came to conditional grants like the Road Maintenance Levy Fund, which when the Roads Committee of Senate called the governors to account for that, for the Road Maintenance Levy Fund, they actually went to court. And now I think we have an order barring the Senate from oversighting the county governments on that funds which we allocate. So that shows how far the governors can go to avoid oversight. And that makes it difficult for us even sometimes to argue that they should get more funds because they are not ready to account for what they have. The issue of pending bills at the county government. County government receive all their monies they budget for, other than when they under-collect their own source revenue, then that is where a shortfall occurs, which they should adjust as they move on, and they make sure that they don't overestimate their revenue. But the kind of pending bills we are talking of just shows that the lack of financial discipline, governors are not following the law in terms of spending as per the budget, because that is why you have an approved budget, you receive the whole amount, however late it may be, but you still have accumulating pending bills because you don't follow your budget. And that is a discipline which the governors need to develop, and they should pay all the merchants they owe. These are Kenyans. We have had complaints of merchants who even had their properties auctioned because the counties could not pay on time for what they have delivered. And that is very sad because more often than not, those are residents of the same county which is incurring those kind of injustices against them. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the issue of outstanding government guaranteed debts to state corporations, it has been said very clearly about Kenya Airways, but I'd like to comment something about Kenya Power. If you look at Kenya Power generally, it is a profit-making organization because it doesn't produce. It buys power from the power producers and it sells to the consumers at a higher price. So it's supposed to be making profit. But because of corruption, which has permeated all parts of the institutions of government, The procurement sector of the Kenya Power has been one of the most corrupt, and we know very well the issues of purchasing equipment which are not usable, like the transformers. That's just money being lost, to the extent that that kind of an organization, which has very little input in terms of production, which just buys power and sells, is making losses. I'd like to comment on a case like, because it all comes from the power purchase agreements they have with the independent power producers, where we have seen the biggest generator of power here, KenGen, is being paid less than the independent power producers several times because of the agreements they have. There is a case which has been in the news maybe in the last 2 months, the case of the 18 billion shillings which we are paying to our independent power producer, that's Lake Turkana Wind Power Project, because of what they call deemed generated electricity. The Auditor General did an audit and produced a report in April this year, 2021, specifically on that amount of money which we are paying, which already we have paid actually 10 billion, and the rest is factored into our bills. The rates at which they have agreed, which is supposed to be a fixed rate for 20 years, has been increased so that they can recover that money from our bills. It has been passed to us. And the worst part, which seemed not to even be coming out in the press, is the Auditor General said that when this project started, the power line, which is the cause of the problem, was supposed to be the responsibility of Lake Turkana Wind Power. Along the way, KenGen was created, and by the time KenGen came into the picture, already the procurement process for the power line has started. Very clearly a case of conflict of interest. Lake Turkana Wind Power was involved in the procurement of the contractor. They did the survey of the line themselves. Then they were involved in the procurement of the contractor. This is what the Auditor General has said. By the time KenGen was taking over, already Isolax have been identified. The company which went bankrupt and caused this delay has been identified, and the report is very clear that actually the technical and the financial evaluation of that company was the responsibility of Lake Turkana Wind Power. Now, Lake Turkana Wind Power handed over that process to KenGen. KenGen did not go back and do another procurement. They just took up from there. The company which Lake Turkana Wind Power has identified is the one which actually went bankrupt. And now, Lake Turkana Wind Power is using that excuse that Isolax went under, the process delayed. So, and that is now where we are now paying that kind of money. Madam Speaker, I support the report of the committee with the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mwinyi Haji Mohamed Faki.
Asante Bispika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia ripoti ya kamati ya fedha ya bunge la Senate kuhusiana na taarifa ya sera ya bajeti ya mwaka 2022-2023. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza napongeza kamati hii kwa kuiangalia kwa kamilifu sera hii, taarifa hii ya sera kulingana na kanuni za Senate na vile vile kulingana na katiba yetu ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, taarifa hii inatupa mtazamo wa vile bajeti ya mwaka ujao itakavyokuwa katika masuala yote ambayo yameangaziwa katika sera hiyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, pili, nakubaliana na mapendekezo ya kamati kwamba hazina kuu ifanye marekebisho ili kuzikinga kaunti zetu dhidi ya mfutuko wa bei, yani inflation, na kwamba ruzuku ya mwaka ujao, yani mwaka 2022-2023 iongezeke kwa asilimia 35 ya hesabu za serikali za mwaka 2017-2018. Mheshimiwa Spika, hizo ndio audited accounts ama hesabu ambazo zimekaguliwa na mhasibu mkuu wa serikali, ambazo ndizo za mbele zaidi kuliko nyingine zozote. Kwa hivyo watumie asilimia 35 ya hizo ambayo ilikuwa ni karibu trilioni 1 na bilioni 400 na pesa zingine za juu. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii asilimia 35 ni moja ya vitu ambavyo vilikuwa viko katika BBI, na Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta alipohutubia bunge mwanzo wa mwezi huu alisema kwamba BBI bado iko hai, japokuwa imeweka katika freezer kwa sasa kutokana na amri ya mahakama. Kwa hivyo tunatoa changamoto kwa serikali, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwamba kama kweli wanania waoneshe nia hiyo kwa sasa, watupe kaunti zetu bilioni asilimia 35 ambayo itakuja ni bilioni 495 pesa za Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa hawataweza kufanya hivyo, ina maana kwamba yale mapendekezo ya BBI yalikuwa ni kutupaka mafuta kwa mgongo wa chupa. Mheshimiwa Spika, naunga mkono pia pendekezo la kuongeza ruzuku ya kaunti, Mheshimiwa Spika, kutoka shilingi bilioni 370 mpaka bilioni 495. Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa pendekezo hilo litakubalika, kaunti yangu ya Mombasa inanuia kupata karibu bilioni 12, ambapo ni pesa zinahitajika pakubwa kuweza kutoa huduma kwa wakazi wa Mombasa na wengineo ambao wanaweza kuja. Mheshimiwa Spika, mambo mengine ambayo yamegusiwa ni kwamba kama vile usafiri, na tunaposema usafiri, Mheshimiwa Spika, tutazungumzia usafiri wa meli na wa bahari na usafiri wa anga. Mheshimiwa Spika, japokuwa serikali inaweka pesa nyingi katika kujenga viwanja vya ndege, kwa mfano miaka 2 iliyopita serikali ilitia karibu bilioni 8 katika uwanja wa kimataifa wa Moi wa Mombasa. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, ndege zinazotua pale za kimataifa ni ndege moja ama ndege mbili. Zamani ilikuwa inakuja Turkish Airlines, inakuja Qatar, inakuja Ethiopia na ndege nyingine ambazo zilikuwa zinakodishwa hususan kuleta watalii katika kaunti za pwani. Lakini kwa sasa Mheshimiwa Spika, ndege ya kimataifa ambayo inatoa Mombasa ni Ethiopian peke yake. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunataka kuinua uchumi wetu tena baada ya kuathirika na janga la corona. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi kuinua uchumi wa utalii wakati tunazuia ndege za kimataifa kutua katika uwanja wa Mombasa ama uwanja wa Malindi, ambao zote ni viwanja ambavyo viko katika hadhi ya kimataifa. Mheshimiwa Spika, haina faida kutoa bilioni 8 kurekebisha uwanja wa Moi wakati kwa sasa ndege inayotua ni Ethiopian peke yake. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia majirani zetu Zanzibar wanapokea zaidi ya ndege 30 za kimataifa kila wiki, kuanzia Jumatatu mpaka Jumapili. Ukienda katika uwanja wa kimataifa wa Zanzibar utapata kuna Ethiopian, kuna Qatar, kuna Emirates, kuna Dubai, kuna ndege za kutoka Europa ambazo zinaleta watalii moja kwa moja mpaka Zanzibar. Na hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, imeinua zaidi uchumi wa Zanzibar. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi na ushahidi kamili kwamba zamani ilipojengwa airport hii, ndege zote za kimataifa zilikuwa zinakuja Mombasa. Lufthansa walikuwa wanakuja, Air France walikuwa wanakuja, British Airways walikuwa wanakuja, na nyingine nyingi za kimataifa, Kondo, zote zilikuwa zinakuja Mheshimiwa Spika, ndege hizi kuleta watalii mara kwa mara ili kuinua biashara ya utalii. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni aibu leo kwamba Mombasa iko na port ya kimataifa ambayo hivi sasa kunajengwa cruise terminal ambayo itakuwa inaangalia maslahi ya biashara ya kitalii. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama ingekuwa ndege za kimataifa zinaruhusiwa, mtalii anaweza kuja na ndege akarejea na meli, mtalii anaweza kuja na meli akarejea na ndege kwa ile sehemu ambayo anatoka, na hiyo itainua zaidi uchumi wetu na biashara yetu ya kitalii katika kaunti ya Mombasa na kaunti jirani. Mheshimiwa Spika, Kisumu pia wana uwanja wa ndege wa kimataifa, lakini ndege inayotua nafikiri Kisumu ni Kenya Airways peke yake, na hawa Jambo na vile vile Fly 748. Hata nafikiri ndege ya Fly 540 haizuru Kisumu, Mheshimiwa Spika, kuweza kupeleka watalii. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, tutaendelea kuilinda Kenya Airways mpaka lini? Kwa sababu sisi Kenya Airways inaendelea kupata hasara. Kila mwaka ukiangalia mabilioni yanakwenda kwa hasara. Na jambo la kushangaza ni kwamba kuna wawekezaji wa kibinafsi ambao wako katika Kenya Airways. Lakini wakati kunaongezwa wanaambiwa watoe pesa, inayotoa pesa ni serikali peke yake. Kodi zetu peke yake ndio zinatumika kuienua Kenya Airways, lakini wale wawekezaji wa kibinafsi, Mheshimiwa Spika, hawaruhusiwi ama hawaombi kuongeza mtaji wakati Kenya Airways inaendelea kupata hasara. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunasema kwamba ikiwa tunaweza ruhusu meli za kimataifa ziegeshe Mombasa zilete mizigo, sioni sababu gani ndege za kimataifa haziwezi kuja Mombasa kuhakikisha kwamba wanaleta watalii ili kuinua utalii wetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, leo tuna fuo za bahari nzuri kabisa kutoka Shimoni mpaka Lamu, Kiunga. Lakini hakuna ndege inayotua ya kimataifa katika sehemu hizo. Na ukiangalia utalii wetu Mheshimiwa, mbali na ufuo wa bahari, tuna mbuga za wanyama za Tsavo na nyinginezo ambazo ni vivutio vikubwa vya kimataifa kwa masuala ya utalii. Mheshimiwa Spika, vile vile bandari ya Lamu ambayo ni bandari ya kimataifa mpaka sasa bado haijaweza kuanza kazi kikamilifu. Na hii inatakana serikali ipeleke wawekezaji wa kibinafsi kule Lamu ili wahakikishe kwamba biashara imeanza kukua katika Lamu, ama sivyo itakuwa ni ile Waingereza wanaita white elephant ama ndovu mweupe ama nzi mweupe ambao ni nadra sana kupatikana. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, tunasema kwamba serikali kama ina nia ya kuinua biashara, watafute wawekezaji wa kibinafsi waende wakainue biashara katika bandari ya Lamu, kwa sababu hiyo ndio bandari ambayo kwa sasa inahitajia biashara kwa kikubwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, ile mipango ya kubinafsisha container terminal 2 Mombasa isimamishwe, kwa sababu biashara kwa sasa ni nzuri na watu wanapata faida. Kwa hivyo hatuoni sababu gani serikali binafsishe kitu ambacho kinapata faida. Kenya, Mheshimiwa Spika, ina ufuo wa bahari mkubwa, lakini hatuna shirika la meli. Hatuna meli hata moja ambayo tuamiliki sisi. Kwa hivyo sioni sababu gani Kenya Airways isiachiliwe kufa kifo cha kawaida, kwa sababu ni njia moja ambayo pesa za serikali zinaliwa bila ya kuchunguzwa na mhasibu mkuu wa serikali. Mheshimiwa Spika, pia majuzi, wiki iliyokwisha, tulipata habari kwamba kuna meli moja ambayo imebeba mabaki ya sumu ya nuclear kutoka Ulaya zinakuja kutupwa Afrika. Mheshimiwa Spika, meli hii kufikia jana ripoti zilikuwa kwamba ilikuwa iko katika bandari ya Mombasa. Ningeomba serikali, Mheshimiwa Spika, ihakikishie nchi kwamba meli hii itasafirishwa na Coast Guard ya Kenya mpaka bahari kuu ili kuhakikisha kwamba mabaki haya ya sumu hayakutupwa hapa nchini kwetu ili kutuletea madhara kwa wananchi. Mheshimiwa Spika, haya mabaki ya sumu kule Ulaya yanachunguzwa na Green Belt Movement. Lakini hapa Kenya sisi hatuna vifaa ama hatuna tajiriba ya kuhakikisha kwamba vitu kama hivi haviwezi kutupwa hapa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ni muhimu kwamba serikali ituhakikishie sisi wananchi wa Kenya kwamba haya mabaki ya sumu hayataweza kutupwa mahali popote katika nchi ya Kenya ama mahali pengine. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine ambalo nimejaribu kuangazia ni kwamba maeneo ya biashara nje, yani export processing zone. Nikizungumzia hii hususan Mombasa, tuna Dongo Kundu export processing zone. Mwaka 2019 nilijumuika na mwenyekiti wa kamati ya fedha Mheshimiwa Senator Kibiru kuzuru eneo hili. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, mpaka sasa japokuwa mradi uliwekewa jiwe la msingi mwaka 2019, lakini mpaka sasa hakuja kuwa na maendeleo yote. Maskota hawajaondolewa Mheshimiwa Spika, vile vile hakuna wawekezaji ambao wameweza kutafutwa ili kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wameweza kuja wakawekeza na kuinua biashara ya kaunti ya Mombasa na Kenya kwa jumla. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii Dongo Kundu export processing zone itasaidia pakubwa kuinua uchumi wa Mombasa na Pwani, na vile vile pia kupata mapato zaidi ya serikali, kwa sababu ni jambo ambalo ni sehemu ambayo iko tayari. Ni wawekezaji waitwe ili waje waanze kujenga viwanda na kuhakikisha kwamba biashara inaendelea hapo, ili sisi watu wa Mombasa na majirani zetu wa Kwale na labda Kilifi waweze kufaidika pia na biashara hizo. Mheshimiwa Spika, serikali imesema kwamba itajenga hospitali 50 za level 3. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia hapa Nairobi peke yake, kulingana na taarifa iliyosomwa na rais katika bunge, ni kwamba wameweza kujenga hospitali 20 kwa mwaka mmoja. Mheshimiwa Spika, hospitali 50 kwa Kenya nzima ni kidogo sana. Kuna sehemu ambazo hawajaona kwa njia yoyote hospitali ya aina yoyote, na wengi wao wanatumia dawa za kienyeji na mitishamba. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, hospitali hizi nafikiri zingeweza kujengwa katika kila county, hususan zile county ambazo kwa sasa ziko na shida ya huduma za afya, na hususan wakati huu ambapo tuna janga la corona. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kumalizia ni kwamba naipongeza kamati hii kwa kazi nzuri waliweza kufanya, na twasisitiza kwamba afisa mkuu wa Treasury, yani Cabinet Secretary ambaye ni msimamizi wa masuala ya fedha, azingatie yale mapendekezo ambayo yametolewa na kamati hii, ili kuhakikisha kwamba kamati hii haichukuliwi, ama na bunge hili la Senate halichukuliwi kama ile tunaita rubber stamp, ili kufanyiwa tu kwamba wamefanya tu kama ada, lakini yale ambayo yamependekezwa na yale ambayo yameshauriwa katika kamati hii ya fedha, Mheshimiwa Spika, hayatazingatiwa. Ni muhimu azingatie, tuhakikishe kwamba bunge hili la Senate linachukua sehemu yake katika taasisi za kitaifa ambazo zinaangalia mambo kwa undani, na vile vile pia kuhakikisha kwamba usawa unatendeka. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Thank you. Finally, Senator Muthama Agnes Kabindu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make my contributions, even as I congratulate Senator Kibiru and the committee for this very well prepared statement. Madam Speaker, I want to comment on just few items. One being the allocation of funds to the counties. I fully support this statement that is proposing that the counties get 496 billion. And I want to thank the committee, because if this will come to pass, then the county of Machakos will get some good money that they can work, and even the whole of Kenya. I want to speak also, Madam Speaker, about the pending bills. There are pending bills in almost all the counties in this country. And I want to urge the committee and Treasury to put in place a mechanism that every governor who comes in will also deal with the pending bills that have been left by the outgoing governor. I'm saying this, Madam Speaker, because like in the county of Machakos, there are many people who have died because of not being paid their money after working for the county, doing supplies or contract jobs. Many are perishing in poverty. Many have been auctioned. And so something should be done even before the outgoing governor goes out, or governors. They must make sure that they pay the pending bills. And I know there is they always do the budget for what they want to do for their counties. And I wonder why they don't pay the people their money after they finish the work. Madam Speaker, too, I want to speak on workers of the counties who have not been paid, like the CHVs. Like in the county of Machakos, we have them going without pay for almost 2 years. We have complaints from doctors. We have complaints from as little people as cleaners who have not been paid. And this money is there and it's catered for. And I would also urge the Treasury to release the monies to the counties in good time, so that they can also be able to prepare what they want to do with the money in good time. When we talk of agriculture, Madam Speaker, this country is very fertile. And if the people who do agriculture in big, large numbers can be supported fully by the government and even the counties, I am sure Kenya can support itself with food. And so money should go mostly to the agriculture. Madam Speaker, I want to comment on medical equipments. We have so many equipments that are lying idle in our hospitals, which were bought and they could not use them. And many of the equipments that are supposed to be used, like x-rays and even for testing, blood and malaria and all these equipments are not working in hospitals, and they are never repaired. You'll find our people going to the hospitals, and they are sent to private hospitals for medical checkups, and they end up paying a lot of money, and especially this time when there's COVID and there's scarcity of funds, our people are suffering. So I hope this can be checked on and followed well. You'll find them even being prescribed for medication, and they end up going to buy this medication from outside, and yet they are poor, they have no money. Some of them are these elderly people, others are orphans, others are just normal people who don't have even an income. Madam Speaker, I want to speak also about the stalled projects. In this country, and especially in my county, Machakos, we have so many stalled projects which were begun and they've never been completed, and I want to believe not only in Machakos, but in all other counties there are also stalled projects. I wish the money that is allocated to the governments, something can be put in place like a law that whatever projects are begun by the governors must be completed before they move to other projects. And those projects like dams and like boreholes, once they break down, can be repaired in time, because there are so many of them which were done in Machakos and they are not working. Madam Speaker, I want also to speak about the budget for development, and especially for national government, especially the projects that they had talked about for Vision 2020. I hope enough money can be allocated so that these projects can continue and move to be made a possibility. And when I talk of this, I'm also referring to Konza City in Machakos. If it can also be completed and work there continue, so that we can complete it by 2030 as part of the Vision 2030. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support this.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Senators, for your contributions. That brings us to the end of the debate. I now call upon the mover, who is the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, Senator Biru, to answer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It has been a long day. Madam Speaker, I beg to reply, and as I reply, Madam Speaker, I would want to recognize the contribution that has been made by almost over 12 senators, which is very commendable. And to begin with, I want to start with the Senator number 6, who is still present, Senator Olekina. And I say, Asante sana, thank you so much, Senator Olekina, for your insights that you have given the committee. And specifically, when you talk about where the statement, the budget policy statement is talking of increasing the domestic borrowing. I think it is something that we have noted, and to not go into vain. And having said that, we would be requesting you to reconsider your opposition. You are opposing the statement, so that at least we can take money to the counties. If you look at the statement I gave, NALOC stands to gain if we stand together and push when dollar comes. Other senators, Senator Wetangula, requested that we be a bit hygienic in the way we do our governance issue. We look at corruption issues, and that is something that we have captured. Alon Cheriot talked about the trade and how, for us to increase the base of taxation, we also need to increase trade. And so also in terms of balance of payment, we need to ensure that, like he mentioned about Tanzania and the Kenya border, I think that is something that need to be taken up seriously. Senator Kajwang also talked about the accountability, and more specifically, he looked at the issues of pending bills, own source revenue, and he said that probably when we come back, we should be looking at counties that are refusing to take seriously the issues of pending bill, and maybe invoke the Article 225 of the Constitution and ensure that we do recommend to the Treasury to stop disbursement to those counties that are not following that trend, and especially now that we are on a transition and we have governors that are leaving. Senator Mulkomen was excited, talked too much about the issues about BBI. There was only one issue that needs to be clarified. When BBI did recommend that instead of even using the last audited account, because the National Assembly is normally very late in approving or adopting the reports of the Auditor General, to be using the current presented audited accounts to the Parliament. So we would have been using maybe 1.6 billion trillion that was recorded last financial year. Senator Wabua talked also, and we thank him, and he brought in the issue of the former councillors, and I think it is something that we would want to recommend that the National Treasury takes it a bit seriously. And because we passed a motion, I think it is only fair that they respect our issues. Dr. Musuluve also came up strongly. Senator came up strongly. Halugula, Senator of Marsabit, also came up very strongly and talked about timely disbursement. And all the senators did support the 495 billion. And I hope those who are listening can listen and hear that the Senate is ready to play its role in ensuring that the counties get their rightful share of 495 billion come next year. Senator Faki, who has just spoken, has come up and he has also talked about issues of business and expanding business. I can't agree with him more. Talking about how we should be able to allow international flights getting to Mombasa. In doing so, we are increasing the revenues that come into this country, because we'll have direct flights to Mombasa and probably increase the number of tourists who are coming to this country. Senator Falia also spoke, and she is a good member of the committee, and she is part and parcel of this report. And Senator Agnes, who was the last speaker, is good because you have touched on one of the areas that I brought a motion into this Senate and that passed by this Senate, that stored projects should become the first issues of budget in every other year. So we would be revisiting that as a committee. We need to see how far the National Treasury and other relevant departments of government have gone into implementing the motion that was passed, and that I did bring to this House, where we agreed that by then the stored projects were at 666 billion. So I thank you, and I thank you everybody, and especially even you, Speaker, I do thank you, and the Secretariat for the time and giving us this opportunity. And pursuant to Standing Order 613, requests, Madam Speaker, you defer putting of the question to a later date. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kibiru, for that good response and articulation. And your request is accepted, so I order that tomorrow we will put the question. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on the status of the new Dandora Stadium in Nairobi City County.
Senator Sakaja is going to move the motion online. Senator Sakaja, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I trust that you can hear me.
Yes.
I'll be very quick on this because, Madam Speaker, it's a straightforward statement or rather report. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate does adopt the report on the Labour and Social Welfare Committee on the status of the new Dandora Stadium. Madam Speaker, this is a matter that has been pending for quite a long time. It's quite urgent, so I'm grateful to the Leader of Majority for including it in today's agenda. Madam Speaker, a statement was brought to the House in September by the Senator for Nairobi, who happens to be myself and also chair of this committee. My committee was able to visit this toll project. Madam Speaker, we made a number of observations. That one, the CIDP for Nairobi City County provided, Madam Speaker, in the period of 2018 to 2022, renovation of stadia across the city of Nairobi at a cost of 1.07 billion. Dandora Stadium was one of the four, including Kawangware Stadium, Kiumbuyuni, Ziwani, whose construction tender worth 1.303 billion was awarded to Scanjet Construction Limited in April of 2018. Out of that amount, 350 million, was awarded or rather earmarked for construction of Dandora. The works stalled because there was a dispute and later on investigations by the EACC on the change of the terms from concrete to steel. And Madam Speaker, we went as a committee and were able to inspect it. Now the project is 70% complete, but the lack of completing this project, Madam Speaker, has led to a lot of crime. This stadium is extremely important to the people of Nairobi, not just those of Dandora and Embakasi North, but the neighboring constituencies. In fact, Madam Speaker, in the period where this project has been stalled, I know a number of young people who even have gone back to a life of crime. Others have been gunned down, yet it's 70% complete. Now, those who are the biggest victims of this stalemate are not those young people in Dandora or the young people in those neighboring areas. They are the victims. They did not participate in the variation or in the contract terms, Madam Speaker, and those were their grounds. They have played there since they were young. I have gone there when I was very young. Madam Speaker, the works we established of good quality, and it is the technicalities that have held this. So far, the county has paid 123 million shillings, and it's very little that is left. In fact, Madam Speaker, we were quite shocked to see that the quality of the work there rivals the work that has been done on Nyayo Stadium and Kasarani, and I would invite colleagues who are interested in sports to be able to look at it for their counties. Madam Speaker, we have actually proposed a number of recommendations as a committee because of the nature of this stalemate. We spoke to the EACC, who came to our committee. We've spoken to the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, the county government, as well as NMS. The EACC have emphatically stated that even as they continue with investigations, they have not stopped any works at the stadium, but the county government needed to be given a go-ahead to actually not only to pay for the works, including the steel works, and to complete this, which can be completed within the next 2 months. So very quickly, Madam Speaker, we recommend just 3 things. Actually 4 things. Number one, that the county government reviews those terms in accordance with the law and completes the project as soon as possible in the interest of the young people of Nairobi, the young people of Dandora and Embakasi North, and all, and different teams. Teams make money from this stadium as well. They even kiosks there and different avenues for economic engagement. Number 2, the due to public interest, that the EACC concludes its investigations on the matter as works at the stadium continue, that we can chew gum and walk. It is not either or. And number 3, that due to the advanced stage of the project, the Senate directs that the Nairobi County government re-engages the contractor who's on site, Scanjet Construction Limited, to complete this project. And
Senator,
the committee, or rather
just take a pause. There is a point of order from Senator Olekina Ladama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I hate to disrupt my good friend, Senator Sakaja, but I know Senator Sakaja to be a stickler to the rule of law, to our standing orders, and under the Speaker's rules, a senator shall be dressed properly. And when I look at him, he is not wearing a tie. And this is a very, very serious matter because even though we allow online contribution, I think it would be proper for him to be dressed in a tie. Madam Speaker, he has to wear a tie so that he can continue moving his motion. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Sakaja, I had not noticed that you are very casual today. What happened to
Madam
you?
Speaker, my apologies. I seek your indulgence. The reason I'm not there is that I'm actually recuperating, and at the facility I might not carry a tie. I have mastered strength to come move this report because of how important it is. I seek your indulgence just for now. You know I am always properly before you.
Are you saying your sickness has to do with your neck?
I'm saying people don't carry ties to hospital.
Sorry?
People rarely carry a tie to hospital, Madam Speaker. I've not been able to.
So you are in hospital?
Madam Speaker.
Yeah, please satisfy the members that you are in hospital and so you don't have a tie.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I wouldn't like to discuss, to go into that. I will just seek your indulgence. We've seen members contributing online, even in different states. I'm just saying that I was not able to have one at the facility.
Now you are changing the reason, and that's going to be very difficult
and
for you.
I urge.
There is another point of order.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, Senator Mutula.
Yes, Madam Speaker, allow me to confirm that I was with Senator Sakaja in Dubai. I left before him, but he is unwell. And if he says it is in hospital, I can confirm that he's actually in hospital. So I think use your discretion under Standing Order number 1. If in fact he has managed to actually move this motion, I'm very surprised because I didn't even expect him to join this meeting. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
I'm seeing another point of order. Who is that?
Madam Speaker, this is Senator Kajwang.
Yes, Senator Kajwang.
Madam Speaker, I know the Speaker's rules do not define how a tie should look like. So I want to encourage Senator Sakaja to tie even if it's a belt around his neck. But I also find it rather mischievous for that point of order to come from the member who puts on a shuka in the House. Madam Speaker.
The shuka is part of our traditional dressing, and that's allowed by the Speaker. But please don't encourage somebody to wear a belt, because we shall see the difference between that. Our honorable senators, because of the intervention of Senator Mutula, I want us to believe that, yes, he is unwell because we are looking for a witness, if not a hospital. So, Senator Sakaja, we allow you to complete, and Paul for your sickness.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm much better, and I thank you for your
and
indulgence.
maybe members in future, you warn us in advance so that we don't have to interfere, to interrupt your discussion. Warn us in advance that you are indisposed. Yes.
I had alerted the Secretariat, Madam Speaker, this morning. Your staff. Madam Speaker, anyway, as I conclude, and I thank Senator Mutula for that confirmation. As you can see, I'm much better. We really were saying the last point was that due to the advanced stage of the project that we actually, the Senate directs, and this is why we brought it as a motion, because we need a resolution that speaks with authority. We direct the Nairobi County government to engage its contractors, Kanjet Construction, to complete this project and to pay for all works done, including concrete and steel works and the turf and what is on there. The people of Dandora were very excited when we visited them, together with Senator Umanga and Senator Kihika and the Labour Committee. And Madam Speaker, they were very, very happy to see the report laid. I want to recognize, now, Madam Speaker, as I conclude, the former governor of Nairobi City County, Governor Mike Sonko, because, Madam Speaker, he envisioned a project that people even of that area would not have envisioned. And the far that it went, Madam Speaker, is something commendable. Most people would take this to higher, income areas in the city. We hope this is completed and moving forward that we can do more for our young people in the city. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for your indulgence. I beg to move and I ask Senator Kajwang to second, Madam Speaker. Thank you. Though, Madam Speaker, I saw he has no jacket, so I don't want to come defend him. Maybe Senator Faria. Second. Oh yes, Madam Speaker, Senator Kajwang is properly dressed with the maroon tie, which is the color of our school. Kindly could you second, Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker, I beg to second this report of the Labour Committee on the state of the Dandora Stadium. Madam Speaker, I also want to congratulate the Labour Committee led by Senator Sakaja for taking up this matter. Ideally, Madam Speaker, this is an issue that the County Assembly of Nairobi would have dealt with to its finality. And the fact that the matter came to the Senate indicates that there has been some breakdown in terms of representation and in terms of oversight of projects that have been undertaken by Nairobi City County Government. I want to urge the Governor of Nairobi, now that she's substantively in office, there are no more excuses. She's no longer acting. I want to urge her to take up all the responsibilities of the office of the governor with confidence. I also want to urge her to start the early process of assessing how to take over from the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, because we know that the deed of transfer will be lapsing in a few months' time. Indeed, Madam Speaker, earlier on, when we were debating the budget policy statement, we indicated that the national government has not made a budgetary allocation for the NMS, which could signal the fact that it has accepted that the NMS is not going to be a permanent entity. So I want to encourage the government of Nairobi to take up all those projects that were initiated by the former governor, be it Kidero, those that were initiated by Governor Sonko, and those that were initiated by the NMS. She should suffer no crisis of confidence, because as things stand, she's a substantive governor of Nairobi. Madam Speaker, as I also second, I want to urge the Nairobi City County Assembly to also be more vigilant on some of these projects, because if the people of Dandora are not getting value, there is an MCA from that region who should be at the forefront of ensuring that that project is pursued to its logical conclusion. Madam Speaker, there has been a misconception that Nairobi City County belongs to the people of Nairobi. There is nobody like the people of Nairobi, unless you are going to refer to the Maasai community. Nairobi City County belongs to all of us, from Makueni to Marsabit to Turkana, to Pokot, to Vanga, to Migingo, Madam Speaker. And so we must all join hands and make sure that Nairobi City County becomes a point of excellence that can then attract FDI, that can attract the best quality of life for its citizens and for its children. Madam Speaker, I beg to second.
Sakaja, and it is indeed a very noble idea coming up with a stadium in Dandora. Honorable Speaker, it is very clear that having a stadium will actually enable the youths in Dandora to start sporting activities. And we all know, Honorable Speaker, that sports have added advantage not only physically, but also mentally, Honorable Speaker. There's a time I watched on TV and I saw some children in Dandora practicing football, and it is good that they have a stadium because this will help even more activities to be on the ground with regard to sporting. For example, we can have football, we can have netball, and all that. And Honorable Speaker, given the nature of Nairobi County being a cosmopolitan county, it means that it is a county for all, Honorable Speaker. Even those who travel from far and wide make a stop in Nairobi. From Mombasa, they make a stop to Nairobi as they go to other places. From Kakamega and other places also, they make a stop to Nairobi. So Nairobi is a hub for everyone, Honorable Speaker. So I support this, the thought that the present county governor of Kakamega should hasten to ensure that the stadium comes to a complete. Yes, Sonko started a noble project that really touches wananchi, and I commend him for that. And Honorable Speaker, just to add to what is happening in Nairobi, I suggest that all county governments should endeavor, Honorable Speaker, to have stadiums in their counties. Honorable Speaker, back to where I come from in Lugari, it really disturbs me when I see that we have tournaments. Like recently, I've had a tournament, and my tournament is still ongoing, Honorable Speaker. But it is unfortunate that Lugari does not have a stadium where youths can play. Most of the time you find youths trying to borrow places like playing field for schools. And when they ask for that place, it means that the students will not access that facility. So, Honorable Speaker, all county governments must endeavor that in their county budgets, they set aside money for building stadiums. And even when they're setting aside money for building stadiums, Honorable Speaker, allow me to comment that when they're also coming up with stadiums, and I hope the Nairobi one will comply to accessibility for persons with disabilities, Honorable Speaker. You go, Honorable Speaker, you find that even those who are constructing, they're doing their architectural work, have not really considered the issue of disability. So when persons with disabilities go to play there, they have a difficult moment, especially even with the ramps, Honorable Speaker. Most people do not realize, even constructors, they don't realize that when it comes to ramps, they should be friendly. Sometimes constructors just make slopes. It is like a hill, so that when you're climbing up the stadium, it is just a hill. People with crutches cannot manage, Honorable Speaker. And also sometimes even people with wheelchairs that do not have effective brakes end up falling on their backs, Honorable Speaker. So it is just important that in this country, when people are constructing stadiums, the issue of disability should be remembered, Honorable Speaker. And another thing also that should be remembered, even when the county government of Nairobi is continuing with this project of stadia, there must be washrooms for persons with disabilities, Honorable Speaker, because this is something that is forgotten. And one thing that must be very clear, Honorable, is that when it comes to accessing washrooms, they should be accessible. It is a primary need. Every one of us must relieve themselves. So in many stadiums, they forget this, Honorable Speaker. And when persons with disabilities go there, they're actually told there are no toilets, or sometimes they lock them so that people with disabilities are not able to access. So, Honorable Speaker, I hope that Kakamega County, I hope that Nairobi County will do a noble job when they're constructing the Dandora, stadium, so that other counties can also benchmark, Honorable Speaker. And I want to call upon also my Governor Wycliffe Ambessa Oparanya, to actually ensure that there are stadiums are built in all constituencies in Lugari, Honorable Speaker. And this is how we can nurture talent, Honorable Speaker. Like for the Msuruve Cup that I'm holding, I have difficult moments in getting, where, the youth can play in Lugari, but there's need to have a fully fledged stadia in all the constituencies in Lugari, so that if when people from Lumakanda want to play, they can go to the stadium. When people of Chevayo want to play, they can go to the stadium. When people also from Mateta want to play, they can go to the stadium, Honorable Speaker. And there can be a rota on how people will make use of the stadium, Honorable Speaker. And even when they make the stadium, they should also allocate for women also women play, women sport. Because right now, Honorable Speaker, women are really engaging in meaningful sport, Honorable Speaker. Like I remember in Lugari, during the mini league of Msuruve Cup, we had, ladies playing from different wards, and I commend them for that. They did a very good job, and they can just play as well as the men can play, Honorable Speaker. And even in the place, you could see the seriousness. Honorable Speaker, it is a time we nurture talent. And coming up with stadia is a way of nurturing talent, Honorable Speaker. Not everyone can go academic. There are some people who can go academic, yes, up the ladder. We allow them to go. But those who are not able to go academic way, then we can see what talent they have, Honorable Speaker. Our youths have different talents. You'll find that there are some who are very good in football. There are some who are very good in netball. There are some who are very good in volleyball and so on, Honorable Speaker. And if these talents are nurtured, Honorable Speaker, they can bring glory to this country, Honorable Speaker. And I want to suggest, Honorable Speaker, all stadiums must include facilities for players with disabilities, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say, when we went to Yala, Honorable Speaker, I commend all the team, everyone who made an effort to ensure that PWD darts is also played in Yala, Honorable Speaker, because you could see how PWD were happy about playing during the Yala time. They did not now go as cheerers. They went in their own capacity as players, and they played and they brought a trophy home, Honorable Speaker. So if they were not included in the Yala Games, Honorable Speaker, we would not have gotten a trophy. And Honorable Speaker, I want to commend Hon Sankok. He braved it up, Honorable Speaker. Some talents we were even surprised. Hon Sankok could, with his crutches, he would dare even just climb up the air, and you see him up the air, Honorable Speaker. These are talents we would have not managed, Honorable Speaker. And because of that talent, Honorable Speaker, the PWDs who went to Yala came back with a trophy, Honorable Speaker. So I want to say, Honorable Speaker, even the county government of Nairobi, the governor should ensure that she is creating facilities for PWDs to play on an equal measure with others, Honorable Speaker. When it comes to sports, Honorable Speaker, that is when PWDs have value for their life, Honorable Speaker. Because there are some who are not able to continue with academics, but you see some of them are very good, even in football, Honorable Speaker. I know that in my Msuruve Cup in Lugari, the PWDs will come from different counties, 2 counties, one in Kakamega and Bungoma, to just play para-volleyball. And this is something I want, to be nurtured by all leaders, that when you have soccer, people should ensure that also PWDs are playing soccer, because they can do that, Honorable Speaker. They can even do, sitting volleyball, Honorable Speaker. So I want to say, Honorable Speaker, we must be candid in ensuring that whatever projects we do are inclusive, Honorable Speaker. We must ensure inclusivity at all levels, Honorable Speaker. If it is an academia, let us ensure that there is inclusivity. When it comes to sports, let us ensure that there is inclusivity, Honorable Speaker. And I saw very many members of parliament also, Honorable Speaker, in Yala. That is when you really know that we have members of parliament with disabilities and they enjoy sports. They were there from the National Assembly. We also had not only members of parliament, even members of staff. They were very happy playing that, Honorable Speaker. So when it comes to sports, sports is a valuable commodity. It's actually a commodity, because It serves our bodies. Mentally, it serves us. We relax when we engage in sports. And apart from mentally, even physically, it also helps in exercising Honorable Speaker. So everyone needs to exercise Honorable Speaker. And sometimes when you engage in sports, like what I've seen in Lugari during the Msuruve tournament, I see that youths come in numbers. Because they want to participate, they cheer their groups, and when they participate and they're active, then they'll not get into idle activities. Like for example, taking bang, doing illicit activities simply because their minds are occupied. And apart from being occupied, Honorable Speaker, when you engage youths in sports, these youths, if they're nurtured well, they can get out of the ward level, go to the county level, go to the national level, and even go to international level, Honorable Speaker. We have seen many sports people emerging from the counties and going very far and going even international and coming back with medals, Honorable Speaker. I have seen quite a number of, our sporting teams, especially from North Rift. They go out of the country, you look at them, you imagine that they'll not come with anything. But when they come back with trophies, Honorable Speaker. So I want to say, Honorable Speaker, this is a noble activity that must be embraced by all county governors, and even county governors should ensure that in their program, in their budget for the year, they also create a budget for sports, Honorable Speaker. Because I'm surprised, Honorable Speaker, that county governors do not even think of having sporting activities in their budget, Honorable Speaker. Even county executives should be engaged in sports, Honorable Speaker. We have senators, we have members of parliament engaging in, in sports every year. And this brings cohesion, and this makes them really champion issues of sports in this country, Honorable Speaker. The other time in Yala, I just saw Senator Murkomen. He was our star. He was able to make a shoot, and another one, and yet he's a member of parliament. So what I want to say, Honorable Speaker, and what I'm saying is that county governments should ensure that sporting activity, in as much as it is devolved, it should be practical, so that when it is practical, the youths are engaged. And not only youths, Honorable Speaker, sometimes even members of staff can come, can do some corporate activities where they're engaging in sports, where they're doing very many activities, within the stadium, Honorable Speaker. So I want to support this thought, and I hope and believe that Hon Kananu will do her best to ensure that she completes what Hon Sonko already started. And I also believe that county governments will do something in ensuring that in the different constituencies, there are stadiums, because stadiums are very important in our country, Honorable Speaker, for the well-being of the mind, for the well-being of the physical activity, and it can also help in earning money, Honorable Speaker. I've seen quite a number of sportsmen who earn their money through sports, Honorable Speaker. You can't earn your money always in the office, and we have to encourage even white, blue-collar jobs. It should not always be the case that if you are to earn money, you have to be in an office, you have to be in a suit, and you have to be in a tie. You can still be in the sports jersey and you still earn money, Honorable Speaker. We have to look for ways of creating jobs for our youths in the counties. We have to look for ways of engaging youths in our country, Honorable Speaker. Senator Kasanga just recently talked about the mental health bill. And some of the causes of mental health is stress. Sometimes the youth go through a lot of stress, and because of that stress, they end up losing it out mentally. But sporting is one of the ways in which we can relax our minds, Honorable Speaker. So I support Senator Sakaja, and I hope that this report will reach the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Jerargei, Samson Kiprotich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this report of the Labor and Social Welfare Committee, led by Nairobi Senator, on the issue of Dandora Stadium. And I hope, Madam Speaker, since Senator Sakaja wants to become the governor of Nairobi, I hope you will be able to follow through, because our session is almost coming to an end in the next few months. Madam Speaker, where you and me come from is sports, apart from agriculture, is one of our core business. the investments that you see in most of our towns, in Kapsabet, in Nandi Hills, in Mosoriat, in Eldoret, in Ziwa, in Kitale, in Nakuru, and even in Nairobi, is because of our many young men and women who brave the morning chilly weather every morning from 3 a.m. to train and become the world beaters that they are. Madam Speaker, one of the track legend and marathon maestro, Eliud Kipchoge, is one of the celebrated icons, not only here in Kenya, but across the globe. And you remember, he's now a representative under the United Nations on issues of climate. And I saw him during the Glasgow on the issues of climate, Madam Speaker. Name people like Conseslus Kipruto, Moses Kiptanui, the late, our heroine, the late slain Agnes Tirop, Madam Speaker, many others, Janet Chepkoskei, and Rita, and many others, Madam Speaker, that you can talk about, the late Wanjiru, the marathoner. We have David Rudisha. Madam Speaker, for us who come from the North Rift region, one of our core business is sports, and majorly athletics. When you go to Western Kenya, Madam Speaker, most of the young people also play football. And a number of them, like Dennis Oliej, Victor Wanyama, and many others, Madam Speaker, have even played from the local leagues up to international leagues, Madam Speaker. What am I trying today to say? Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, as we speak today, there is no proper infrastructural support to ensure that we nurture these talents, Madam Speaker. Most of these people are almost being knocked by motorbikes in the village rural roads as they run in the morning. When you go to the tracks that we have, either in Wasingishu or in Nandi, they don't have Tata, the standard track that is needed so that you can train for qualification of international sports events, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's very unfortunate that our athletes, and it is sad that as we even talk, we remember the life of slain athlete Agnes Tirop, that the family and the rest of us are yet to receive justice many months after she was allegedly murdered away from her training camp, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as a country, we must be ashamed that we have failed to protect our athletes, to protect our sportsmen and women, not only by ensuring that we have standard stadium, Madam Speaker. And it is the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta that assured us that every county should have an international standard stadium. And you remember, Madam Speaker, when the issue of Amina Mohammed, CS, came up, we were very vocal because we were questioning how can you use billions of shillings to renovate. But when you look at the standard and renovations that have been done, Madam Speaker, it was not meeting the international standards. Yet we pride ourselves as a country for becoming the powerhouse of sports in this country, Madam Speaker. You can see the mess that we have in sports, football, in athletics. Madam Speaker, when you come to my county, because sports has been devolved, Madam Speaker, for example, in Nandi, it is shaming. In 2020, the county government of Nandi set aside 70 million to renovate and ensure that Kipchoge Keino Stadium meets the standard that is international, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you go to that stadium, the grass is overgrown, there are cows sleeping on the track, nothing is happening. Yet in 2020, the budget by the Nandi County government had put 70 million into that project. It is shaming that Nandi is the source of champions, but there are no support from the county government, Madam Speaker, just like the Dandora Stadium, Madam Speaker. How can you tell the world? And when you ask the county executive and the governor, they have gone aside and now left the Kipchoge Keino Stadium, which was supposed to assist all athletes across the Nandi County. They have now started building something outside, calling it a complex, where they are only building toilets and changing rooms, leaving the measure that they should have ensured that they build Kipchoge Keino Stadium, ensure that it has an international Tata that can be used and the standardization marks that can ensure that our athletes are able to compete. And you know, even your athletes, where they come from, the city of champions in your county, Madam Speaker, were able to train because the climatic conditions, apart from Iten, is very good for the training areas like Nandi Hills, Madam Speaker. You can see, for example, we also have Nandi Hills Stadium, Madam Speaker. I was in Nandi Stadium presiding over a tournament. When you go there, Madam Speaker, when it rains, the way it rains, the entire Nandi Stadium turns into a man-made lake because the work that has been done is substandard. Millions of shillings have been sunk in Nandi Stadium. That is why you find people going and playing, even when our rugby, Kenya Rugby plays in outside Nairobi, they got a hire Nandi Bears Club to train there. Yet we have Nandi Stadium that we have put a lot of millions of shillings by the county government of Nandi, but when it rains, it turns into a river, it turns into a lake. When you go there, there are no changing rooms. The place is so dirty, dilapidated. It is next to the market. The market itself is dilapidated. No one has ensured it has failed. And Madam Speaker, you know, I said in my earlier submissions during the budget policy statement that from where you and me come from, our only main economic stay are agriculture and sports. So if our county governments cannot factor in and ensure that issue of sports is addressed, Madam Speaker, it is very unfortunate. And for example, in fact, if a county like Nandi, where if you go, and I know you are a neighbor, and when you even drive everywhere in the North Rift, whenever you drive, you see runners running. Whenever you drive past the center, you see volleyball. When I organized a tournament early last month at the Mosori, at what we call First Heroes volleyball tournament, that we were recognizing volleyball heroes, many young people, you could see the potential. Their only question that they continue to ask all of us as leaders, and even the county government, where are the stadiums? Where are the training grounds? Where is the money that has been allocated to the sports? The only sports tournaments that I've seen organized are only by the CDF and members of parliament in Nandi. But when you go and when you ask the county government of Nandi, Madam Speaker, they can't even organize what we call, I was told the other day, there is what we call hood ball. You know, there is where you play using hood ball, where a lot of money had been. They can't even organize a small league, a village league. And yet, members of county assembly across, especially Nandi, normally allocate money to sports, Madam Speaker. So the two stadiums like Nandi Stadium, Madam Speaker, and Kipchoge Stadium, there is nothing to write home about. Millions of shillings have been spent. When you go there, as I've said, especially Kipchoge Keino Stadium, the grass is overgrown, you get animals feeding there, you get these are substandard, no one can train there. That's why you find most of our athletes from Nandi decide to come to Uasin County at Kaptaga to come and train. Yet Nandi Hills and Kapsabet can be a good place. And you know very well that most of the people who have run for this country trained in Nandi because of the good conditions that we have, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I really want to emphasize and say it is timely, and I hope the intervention even using Dandora Stadium, because, Madam Speaker, you know our cities, even where all of us live, especially here in Nairobi, they are no longer playgrounds. There is a disease in this country called grabiosis. Everybody has grabbed any empty field. I don't know, there is a problem in this country. Anybody who sees an empty field or an empty something, the disease called grabiosis syndrome just crops in. Every state you go in Nairobi, and Madam Speaker, whenever you are around during the weekend, whenever you drive, especially southern and northern bypass, you find families and their children praying along the bypass. And many accidents have happened. You know why? Because in the estates, there are no playgrounds. Those playgrounds were grabbed, they were taken over. That is why a stadium like Dandora should be used and ensured it is up to standard, Madam Speaker, so that the young people of this city, the young people of Nairobi, the children who want to play, Madam Speaker, and even adults who want to play, can get a stadium where they can go and play and exploit their talents. We want to see footballers like Cristiano Ronaldo, Madam Speaker. We want to see Eliud Kipchoge's of this world. We want to see volleyballers like the Malkia strikers that we have, Madam Speaker. We want to see serious sportsmen and women in this republic, Madam Speaker. And that is why we were questioning the sports fund, Madam Speaker, as I conclude. We did not question sports fund and question the Ministry of Sports, Youth, Sports and Culture for the sake of questioning CS Amina Mohammed. We wanted that fund to be used, Madam Speaker, to assist the young people across the nation. Madam Speaker, you remember in my concluding remarks that when the Tokyo 2020 Olympics happened, The reception and organization was so shambolic, and I want to thank this House of Senate because they have, this committee led by Senator Sakaja are working on the statement and the motion that we gave them to find the truth, Madam Speaker. Because if you can put somebody like Eliud Kipchoge on an economic class, they will get a jet lag, and yet they are supposed to run the following day. Somebody like Bridget, who was to run the marathon the following day, was using economic class. But you find officials or Sports Kenya are using first class and second class, where they cannot get, who is supposed to get more preferential treatment. Madam Speaker, you are being told even in Tokyo there, the hotels that our athletes sleep, Madam Speaker, is unfortunate. But the officials of the ministry go there, take selfies, they find nothing abnormal. Madam Speaker, you remember when they landed in JKI, even a driver or a flower or a driver or a tea girl from the Ministry of Sports could not dare and receive them. They were being told there is curfew, there is lockdown. But look at Uganda, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni might have many problems. But when it came to gold that was being won in Uganda, they were given a car, their parents were built a house, and they were given money cash, Madam Speaker. It is after the hue and cry of this House and myself that the government decided to reward some small tokenism. We don't want to encourage tokenism, Madam Speaker. What we were requesting is that why would you welcome our athletes with only Maasai shukas? Does this mean this country cannot welcome our sportsmen and women in a better way? Is it a lot? And Madam Speaker, many people forget this, that when Eliud Kipchoge, when Victor Wanyama, when Malkia strikers play in the World Arena of the sports, Madam Speaker, they are branding the country. Why should we pay a lot of money to brand Kenya if we can just support our athletes so that when they run? You remember when Eliud Kipchoge were running the Inos 159? Over 7 billion people of the world were watching him, Madam Speaker. Which other advertisement would you want from such? Brand Kenya is doing some job, but why don't we even divert that money and ensure our athletes and sportsmen and women are well-resourced, are rewarded properly, they go and run? When somebody sees, and you have traveled, Madam Speaker, we have had a privilege as leaders travel around the world, when they see you as a Kenyan, they ask you, do you run? Are you a runner? It is because it is our trademark. Why don't we exploit our trademark and use sports tourism as a part of attracting investors to this country, Madam Speaker? So I hope the committee of Senator Sakaja, they have been doing a tremendous job, and I know he's following and he's noting this down, that, Madam Speaker, the issues of sportsmen and women must be fully addressed. We want people who are in charge, Madam Speaker, and when we talk about bottom-up, those people need to be trained from the level they are to the level that we have. Madam Speaker, thank you for that indulgence. You know I'm passionate because where you and me come from, we depend largely on sports, Madam Speaker. I thank you and I support.
Thank you, Senator Gerard K. Senator Kavindu online. Senator Kavindu. As we are waiting for Senator Kavindu, I want to warn Senator Sakaja to prepare to reply. That's the last contributor for the evening. Senator Kavindu.
Can you hear me, Madam
Yes, we can
Speaker?
hear you.
Yes, I want to commend Senator Sakaja for this statement. And Madam Speaker, my contribution is that it is very important to build the Dandora Stadium.
Please
and
face the camera also. Control room, please. Let's see her face. Yes, now we can see.
Yes,
you.
Can you see my face now?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yes, I'm saying it's important to build the Dandora Stadium. And Madam Speaker, I am saying that not only the Dandora Stadium, we should be able to build stadiums across the nation, because football or any kind of sports is very important, because it is an exercise to the body, an exercise to the mind. We have so many young people, and not only young people, even mature people who are depressed.
And at this time, when you are doing any kind of sports, you are also exercising, and you're exercising also your mind. And it's important. It's also a way of socializing. Many people are hanging themselves or poisoning themselves and dying. It's because they don't have people to share their problems and their issues with. And when you are in a social place and you have issues, people will notice and they'll be able to share. And you'll also be able to open up to people. And this will help. I'm saying, Madam Speaker, we must have a way of nurturing the talents from our young people, because not everyone is gifted in learning. And if you are not gifted in learning, then you can be able to make it in life just through sports, either football or even running or any kind of games. Madam Speaker, I support this motion. I also want to talk of a stadium in Kinyoi in Machakos County, Matungulu sub-county, which was begun in 2017, and to date, that is a stalled project which has not been completed. And it's not only that one. We have so many places where our young people can go and do sports and football, and this project has stalled. I'm requesting if money should be set aside to finish those projects, and especially the governors who are supposed to be finishing this project, and especially the governors who are going out. Madam Speaker, I must emphasize, they must finish all the stalled projects, so that the incoming governors will not have challenges of working with the money that they should be doing other developments with finishing their stalled project. Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kavindu. That brings us to the end of the requests. I now call upon the mover, the chairperson, Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare, Senator Sakaja, to reply.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the senators who've contributed to this motion by the Committee on Labor and Social Welfare. I want to start definitely by Senator Kajwang, who was gracious to second it, and also help us deal with the zealous Senator Fonarok together with Senator Mutula. I'm grateful for that. Madam Speaker, I want to thank Senator Musuruve, and I want to assure her and even invite her to take a tour of this Dandora facility. It indeed has provisions for persons with disability that was incorporated. And again, I am grateful for the foresight of my predecessor in Nairobi, Sonko, and the team, including the CAC, Janet Mudhoni Ouko, for having really felt the plight of these young people. Senator Cherargei has made very important points that I completely agree with. And of course, he kept talking about your region. Madam Speaker, athletes are from all over the country. Even in Western, Madam Speaker, I'm the son of a champion athlete who has won gold and silver for this country. My mother, the late Emily Kubasu Sakaja, who was 200 meters champion. Yeah, so it's not just in the home of champions, was in Gishu and Nandi and those counties. Sports indeed is an economic frontier that needs to be nurtured. We've seen world over how our stars, even from that same Dandora Stadium, have gone to represent this country, and we must really nurture it and see it as an economic frontier. We've said that as a committee, that even the economic survey must include, some of these indicators, so that people can invest in sports, in the arts, in film, in music, because those are the new ways to do work. If you look at the SDGs, the SDG number 8 on work and the future of work, it includes this, creative economy and sports. I want to thank also Senator Kavindu, and she's mentioned some of the areas in Matungulu, where the MP Mule is my friend, and a lot of those areas. Madam Speaker, a lot has changed in sporting fraternity, it's now national. The traditional areas that produced certain grades have now moved. We have rugby going around the country. We have soccer. We have all of this, and I'm happy that Madam Speaker, with the support of the Senate, we can get this done. And as I've said, in as much as it was only one stadium in Dandora, we'll make sure moving forward that, Madam Speaker, we can look at Umeme grounds in Ziwani, we can look at Woodley grounds in Kibra constituency, Kawangware, Kibuini, and the rest, to make sure they come to par with the standard that has been set or that is being set. Finally, Madam Speaker, and most importantly, I want to thank the young people of Dandora. Madam Speaker, if you look at the status of that stadium, for 3 years, no work has been done. There are a lot of expensive equipment, including public address, their speakers, their sound systems, their amplifiers, their microphones. None of them, Madam Speaker, has been touched or vandalized. The young people there themselves are the ones who have been protecting. And I want to single out Godfrey, the chair of the stadium, the 12 teams that play, or rather that used to play in the stadium from that area, the MCAs from Dandora 1, Dandora 2, Dandora 3 and 4 wards, who we have worked closely, and the members of County Assembly that have really played their part in making sure this is done. It had reached the point beyond which they could sort out. And I note what Senator Kajwang said. The county assemblies are the first port of oversight, but I think it was now beyond them. Even the governor felt her hands are tied, and no one in the county wanted to touch this where it had reached because of fear of repercussions. But we said, as a Senate, we have the authority and mandate to oversight all these state organs, not just the county government, but also the investigative agencies, and we hold the arm and the knife. And so we're giving them this clearance so that we can finish it for the interest of the people. This does not stop any investigation. This does not stop any agency looking into the matter, but we don't throw out the baby in the bathwater. The young people of Dandora will still, and they still deserve value for their money, and they deserve to be treated as first-class citizens. And also, the longer we take, Madam Speaker, the more we waste the resources that have already been pumped in, taxpayers' money from Nairobi and from the rest of the country that has already been put in. So, Madam Speaker, I thank you for this. I thank you for the opportunity, and I'm glad. I want to thank my committee members, especially Senator Hika, who accompanied me, Senator Omanga, who came, Mama Miradi. She is also very keen on this matter, in as much as she's not a member of the committee, and the rest of the committee, that, Madam Speaker, including my secretariat led by Monate Shaban, and the team. A young man called Kibet Kevin was in charge of this issue. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to reply. And Madam Speaker, my reading is that it's not a matter that affects counties, but I will stand guided, because you could be able to put the question, or you can do it with the others, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senators. This matter does not concern counties, so I will propose, I'll put the question for that the Senate adopts the report by the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on the status of the new Dandora Stadium in Nairobi City County, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 2nd December 2021. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Will as many as of the corner say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Senators, for the convenience of the House, we will not continue with the Committee of the Whole, and I would like to announce the orders that are being deferred, because the remaining orders are on the Committee of the Whole, and we are going to start them tomorrow. I want to urge all the chairmen of the committees and all those members who are concerned to come and prosecute their bills or motions. Order number 10, the Kenyan Sign Language Bill by Senator Gertrude Musuruve and Senator Professor Margaret Kamar. Order number 11, the County Hall of Fame Bill by Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. Order number 12, the Law of Succession Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 15 of 2021 by Senator Abishiro Ahlake. Order number 13, the County Oversight and Accountability Bill, Senate Bills number 17 of 2021 by Senator Ledama Olekina. Order number 14, the street vendors protection of livelihood bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2021 by the Chairperson Standing Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industrialization. Order number 15, the Heritage and Museum Bill, Senate Bills number 22 of 2021 by Senator Dr. Alice Milgo. Order number 16, the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 38 of 2021 by Senator Moses Kajwang. Order number 17, the Lifestyle Audit Bill, Senate Bills number 36 of 2021 by Senator CPA Faria Haji. Order number 18, the Kenya Citizenship and Immigration Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 33 of 2021 by Senator Dr. Irungu Kangata. And order number 19, the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 37 of 2021 by the Chairperson Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations. All those orders stand deferred to tomorrow morning 10 a.m. and I urge all those concerned to be present to prosecute. Honorable Senators, therefore, there being no other business, it is now time to adjourn the House. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 22nd December 2021 at 10 a.m.
Recording stopped.